Last video, we upgraded our engine to ensure our car is a bit faster and we can win this race. And we decided that we want to upgrade instead of keeping the same level. And we looked at the data, and if we win any point, the engine will pay itself off. And it's not a huge difference, it costs about 2 million. But if the engine helps us get the fastest lap, and that's an extra 1 million for fastest lap. And this race we just did, we qualified second because Ethan is using the softer tires, so we couldn't beat him in qualifying. And near the end of the race, when we look at the fastest lap time, we were only 0.3 seconds quicker. Thanks to our engine, we were able to take that fastest lap, and that pays itself off and can last extra races with the higher level. And we can see we're quite fast because Ethan is doing less pit stop than us and we're right behind him. But the problem is at the start of the race we got caught up behind tukaz for quite a few laps and we lost maybe 5 seconds or so. And you can see Ethan needs to pit soon because his tires are done. You can also see our lap times at the start of the race are quite good. We're like top 2 quickest. And we can see tukaz is doing a 1 pit stop strategy, and potentially he's losing a bit of time. And I think tukaz pit very late on the first pit stop because he's not sure how long the tires will last, and he probably put a bit more fuel to make sure he maximizes the wear and will be able to make it to the end. And we can see we set our boost lap at around the 50th lap, and we got 1 second quicker and will hold the fastest lap in the race. And you can see it's only 0.2 seconds quicker than Marge's. We can see tukaz is right behind us, 20 seconds, and if we didn't upgrade that engine we probably would have not beaten him. And you can see for some reason Ethan lost a lot of time and he finished 5th, potentially because he's doing too many pit stops, doing 4 instead of 3. And last video we already concluded that this track is either 2 or 3 pit stop is the best. And a surprising thing again with our race results is that our driver has not made any mistakes. But this race we raced with a lower clear risk, but our stamina drain was very high. Normally with this race we might have 30% left. And if we compare our race time to our teammates, we are 2 minutes quicker. And if we look at our race time compared to everyone in our group, you can see we're top 40 and we're only 50 seconds slower than the fastest one. Despite having a very low pit stop level and no staff training at all, we had one of the best pit times out of everyone doing a similar strategy. We had like 20.5 and others were doing 22.8. For this race, you can see our car level was 4 bars and it was actually slightly slower than Giovanni, but we have more money than him and we still virtually have one of the best cars. if not the fastest, if the track is a bit more power based. And we see our Q1 time is about 1.3 seconds slower than Ethan, and not much off from others, but our Q2 time was very good. I'm not sure why it's that good. Potentially others are pushing a lot and they made an error in Q2. And if we look at our overall qualifying, we ranked top 240 out of 2,500 qualified. And there's something to do with the sponsors. And we can see with the sponsor who we already got, others haven't continued to do anything. So that's good, so you're guaranteed to get it next race. And this one, you want to look at what we're trying to achieve. The negotiations is quite good. So we just put the, I was thinking the promotion, but I think this mid-table is a bit safer. Last time when we had the other sponsor with a bit lower negotiations, we clicked this one and they just stopped negotiating with us. But I think we can click this one, and on the later ones we can ask for a little bit more money and it should be okay. But the sponsors are potentially very sensitive in this question. You can see last time they pulled away from the negotiations because it's difficult to negotiate. And if we look at our achievements, we can see we got this overtake everyone last time when we did very good in the Indianapolis, and we got top 10 out of everyone and got some of all of these winning achievements and fastest lap. And surprisingly, you can see Ethan and tukaz in our group who are up against has applied to join our team, but our team leader hasn't approved them to join in yet. I think that's very exciting because we're doing so good in the championship and it's attracting the attention and they want to join our team. So I'm so happy about it. And we're gonna train our driver and the same thing and keep reducing the driver weight. Drop the weight by another 1 kg. And surprisingly, we only lost 5 motivation. And at the start of the season, normally we lose about 10 or 20 points when we do the training. And because Ethan hasn't trained his driver much, our driver is the same weight as him right now. You can see, and if you remember at the start of the season, our driver is about 2 or 3 kilograms more heavy compared to his driver. For this track, we're going to have to use the lower risk again because our driver isn't going to have enough time to recover the stamina fully, and we only had 5 stamina left. And you can see the suspension, while we might be able to downgrade it a bit, I think because the field is very close to us and we want to rather upgrade and secure extra points and revenue from winning, we want to upgrade the suspension. Though this track and the few upcoming tracks is not that much car performance dependent, I still think we want that slight extra edge because the power is about overall 8 to 10 points, so a bit less car dependent but still somewhat car dependent. You can see all of the other parts the weight is a bit high, so we have to upgrade it. You can see the suspension isn't all that expensive, and it lasts on average 4 races or so. And we take 2 million divided by 4, it's only about 500 to 700,000. So it's not that much money saved, but this might make the difference between getting the fastest lap or not. And that is a huge amount of revenue, $1 million. And we can see after the update, our car is a bit more balanced with the car characteristics. And we lost another point in our car performance that we gained through testing. And it actually loses points throughout time going on. Our money doesn't look all that good for a few past races because a few of the top contenders were still doing eco and saving money. But now, because they are forced to try and keep up to keep their promotion, because there's so much competition, they have to throw money down the drain. And our money management right now looks quite good compared to theirs, especially because we also have the fastest car and we have this extra testing under our belt, and we had a huge amount of training for our driver. And I'm going to copy the car weight into my calculator tool. We're going to have a look at the stats of the race that we just did. We can see that our car weight was spot on, and the average weight was only 0.6 higher. And we can see our stamina drain in the race is 2.7 compared to the normal 2.2. And because for the past race data, when the 100-second was bigger than 0.5, the second is 1 second higher, so there's a rounding error. So I added this extra calculation to see if it's bigger than 0.5, and then you'll subtract 1 from the second, so get the exact time of the race. And now after the update, all the laps are correct. And I also had a look at the lap times. The lap times was quite similar, and we're a bit slow in this first 10 laps. And our car was still getting a bit quicker, if not the same as the middle of the race. So we want to reduce our car weight compensation by a bit to make sure we have max performance instead of artificially slowing our car down to not get caught up and lose time from not being able to. Also had a look at the lap time versus the temperature, and it seems quite similar, and it's like a flat response. When the temperature goes higher, it's similar to when it's 1 degree lower. And I decided that I want to make the car be a bit slightly slower in the last 10 laps of the race, so we maximize our road pace. And I think we want to reduce the wear by a bit, maybe 30%, and a 15% reduction in the temperature compensation. Also, when we look at the tire wear, the actual tire wear is about 4% less than our calculator. And when we do 30% less for our current wear comp, we get this 0.63. And we reduce the temperature compensation by 15%, we get this 1.08. So we're targeting to have like a flat response. I mean, targeting to have an undercompensated response, because these wear coefficient temp coefficient is not exactly the same as what the game is, so we have a little bit less. Then the effect of not having the exact value will be a bit less. We still have the benefit of being compensated, similar to a flat curve. For this race we're about to do, we can see the coefficient is 1.35, which is the between 1 and 2 pit stop. If we look at the past race data, you can see it's a 1 and 2 pit stop, and a 2 or 3. And the amateur group shows 1 and 2, and a 1 pit stop. So I think as long as we do 2 pit stop, we should be doing good in this race. Another thing that I noticed with our driver is that we're gaining experience every race. And previously with our other driver last season with very high experience of 200, he only gains experience every 2 or 3 races. I think it also has to do a bit with age. A driver is like 20 and the previous driver was 40. This race, the time will be about 1 minute and 6 seconds per lap. We know there's 79 laps, and we enter the lap time, and we can see to do 79 laps it will be the 90-minute mark. And you can see the temperature from the 90-minute mark is very similar, so you can just look at the average between all 3. Or we can just look at the first 2, and it'll probably be a bit better because the setup only works within a narrow range, and setting it wide wouldn't gain us much time. And we're going to use this T12, so it's just the average of this. And we enter this tire wear into our offset calculation, and we get 17 because we know the calculator wear is actually 9% less than the race wear. And then we enter the laps, and we look at the laps required to get 2 extra laps from the total, and you can see our max tire wear is 50%. So that's using our tires up a lot, but we still have good amount of wear left. And normally we want to look at about 7 to 12% left for a best lap time. And we enter the amount of fuel required. And we're going to find the setup for the race. Surprisingly, our setup is all within spec for the first test. We calculated the final setup, and we're going to find the wing split. If we look at our lap time, we can see that this time was a bit better than that one, and we thought the lap would be in between these 2, and apparently this could have been the best lap time, or we need a slightly more wing split. You can see the 6th lap and the 8th lap, the time is relatively similar, and can assume it's the center between those 2 values. Actually, the lap time here was negative, and will go even negative more. Our car didn't lose time. So we still don't know if we need a bit more wing sweep compared to this one. So just going to do this setup minus 10 points more away from this one. So even if there's a bit more time to gain from reducing the wing a bit more, we can gain that time. Otherwise we don't lose much time from doing this setup. And we can see our net time is quite close, about 0.45 seconds off. And you can see our average driver mistake is up to 1.2 seconds. We entered the required fuel. You can see we had a superb qualifying time. And you can see we have 0.48 slower than tukaz in the first stint. And I think potentially it was pushing the driver a bit or something, that's why there's this gap. Driver quite made a bit more mistake. On Q2 we had like 0.1 off him, and surprisingly look at Ethan, a bit faster than us, but the qualifying time is 1.7 seconds slower. Potentially he chose doing a 1 pit stop. And we can see our combined qualifying times is quite good. And our time is top 110 out of 1200 qualified. And we look at Q1, Q2, virtually same. 2.7 seconds slower than the fastest, and top 5 is 1.6 seconds. So potentially we're going to do good in this race again. And when we compare the qualifying to our teammate much slower, but this is enough to get him first place on the grid. 2 seconds slower than us, but that's enough for first place for his one. So much less competition. We did the setup for the race, and we can see because we reduced the weight compensation values a bit, this time our setup values are a bit more closer to without any weight compensation. And we entered the fuel required. And we entered the boost fuel for this first pit stop, so we can guarantee the fastest lap. And because this track has similar laps compared to last one, 80 laps, we didn't have to change anything for our boost laps. And you can see from our calculator tool, the same boost lap as last time. And we don't have to change anything for our driver risk, but we can potentially increase the overtaking risk a bit. But why do we want to do that when we are already doing good and getting top points? But increase the overtaking risk a bit by about 5 points or so. So we're not losing as much time for these maneuvers. The max amount of time we're going to lose is about 7 to 10 seconds per mistake made. But then the quicker we can get this to the optimum level, the better our return in the future. And we have a huge point gap to others, so it doesn't matter if we make this sort of small mistake of 7 seconds or so and lose a few points. At the start of the season there was a lot of competition and we're struggling to find those points, so we didn't increase the risk all that much for the overtaking. So you don't want to potentially lose a few positions in the grid because of the higher risk and trying to calibrate the risks. A driver also hasn't made any mistakes during overtaking or defending from the first race at the season. So we definitely know we can increase the risk a bit without making any mistakes.